As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
And good afternoon, and welcome to the Business Zone. It is Friday. Oh, wow, May 30th, the end of the month. We have gone through all of May. It's been a wild month with everything going on in Washington and all of those. It's just been a lot. But we want to thank you guys for joining us today. And we're going to have a great topic. We have a great topic today. And so our topic is, um, um, is cohort fatigue, which is actually business support programs fatigue. And the question is, can you attend to many? A couple weeks ago, I had someone that was on another podcast of mine, and she was stressing that she was a little stressed out from all the cohorts and didn't really think of it as a issue, but I guess it is an issue. I spoke to some other individuals, and they also felt that way. So I thought we should have a conversation about it. So that is what our conversation is going to be today. And if it resonates with you guys, please put your information in the chat. Um, generally I am a facilitator or actually a presenter in a number of cohorts that are around the city, um, and I provide information or workshops on financial, I guess, stability in a business. And so I do a tax one, I do a cash flow presentation, I do accounting and software, your systems, your financial management, and generally those individuals are in cohorts that are multiple weeks, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. Gilbert should be coming in a moment. He is again working with his technology, his computers, and so he should be here shortly. But I hope you guys all had a great week and a great holiday. It was really it was restful for me. I needed that, and gearing up for my kids' youth entrepreneur program this summer, and so I'm kind of excited. But today you tuned in to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. It is we are celebrating our 9th year this year in July, and so we're kind of excited about that, and we got some new stuff happening. Right now, we actually are getting ready to launch a newsletter, so we will be sending it out to all of you that have registered or subscribed to the Business Zone, either through our website or through our YouTube channel. And then that way you can get some behind the scenes information. You can get you get some coaching information, some coaching tips. Generally, will be tied into the topic that we're going to be discussing, and you can also reach back out to us and ask us any questions about your particular business, and if you have any concerns or challenges or celebrations, or you just want to be introduce us to the business that you are running and operating, we are welcome to all of it, because that's what we do as business coaches. We support, we encourage, we educate, we inspire, and most importantly, sometimes we have to do some tough love every now and then, but it's okay. Tough love is good. Hey, Gilbert. Oh, you got to use your phone to get to the sound. So I need to get you. Do you need the link? Okay, all right. So Gilbert will be here in a minute. So yeah, sometimes it's a little tough love because Sometimes you guys just need to be that, you have to have that little bit of a push to get you to be and reach your greatness. Sometimes we can't get to our greatness on our own. We have to have some encouragement by people that are here for us. And that's what business coaches do. We're that voice that sits on your shoulder and we guide you. And then when you are being a little bit of stubborn, we actually kind of help with that as well. Let me see. I'm trying to get to what's happening here. Okay, so I can send this over to Gilbert. Actually, I can put it here, and you should be able to grab it out of here. Can you grab it out of there, or do I need to send it, email it? Probably need to email it, huh? Okay. All righty. So that's our topic today, guys. So think about that. We got some questions to ask you. I think we're going to start with the questions as Gilbert is working through his through the challenges there with his computer. He does have a new one that just came in, so soon he will have sound right along with his all the other components of his computer. He had to upgrade and do some stuff. All right, Gilbert, I just sent it over to you. All right, so let's see, and he should be here shortly. So, what you guys do for the holiday? Did you have a barbecue? Did you settle? Did you have friends and family? Did you travel? What was it that you did for the holiday? Me, myself, I did nothing. It was such a pleasant experience. Just nothing. That's what I did. And I enjoyed it. And I spent a lot of time in my garden, which was awesome. And I hope to really plan to do that as again this weekend. So while he's doing that, let us we would like you guys to go over to our YouTube channel and hit our subscribe button. If you enjoy the presentation, if you enjoyed any of our other shows, you can also find all of those over at archived on our YouTube channel. Last week we had a great conversation about leveraging debt and good debt versus bad debt, and how do you use it in order to grow your business. So if you want to see that one, that's over there on our YouTube channel, The Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. You can hit the subscribe button and it will take you there. And if you like any of our episodes, please hit that like button. That does us really well in the algorithms. You guys know the routine. We all say the same thing, but it's really, really important for us to be able to stay relevant on our YouTube channel. So there you go. So what we're going to talk about is, and he's joined, so you got to put one on. Let me let you in.
All right.
There we go.
Let me put the other one on mute.
On mute, right. And then put that one on, take the visual off of that one, off your phone. And
oh, this is hilarious.
And so you have to take the video off of the phone one and then the sound off of the other one.
Okay.
All righty. So anyway, I'm gearing up for Biz Camp for my kids. Oh my God, I'm so excited. And then tomorrow the kids are actually going to compete again, another competition. We have one that's actually competing. So we're excited about that. We're going to be at Loyola Marymount and for the regional competition. So we have one that she was accepted in. So we're excited. So hopefully she'll get first. She'll get a very, hopefully first place, and then that way she'll get to go to New York for the national. So looking forward to that, and then and the kids will get their certificates for participating in the winter program, and then we will be kicking off the summer program. So excited about that, and hopefully we'll have a nice crop of young people for our June and our July cohort. If anyone is interested in being a volunteer, a mentor during the time that you will be helping the kids look over their presentation and hear them recite their presentation and giving them any kind of feedback that would be useful for them to compete the following couple of days after you there. Oh, we lost you. Oh, what
I'm here.
happened?
I'm still
Okay.
here.
Oh, okay. So I can hear
Can you
you without you being over here. That's cool.
Oh, you can see the video, right?
I can see the video. I can see you, and
Yeah.
you're over there. So you're
Yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
No, okay.
I'm
Well,
good.
hello, Gilbert. How are you?
I am doing fine, co-host. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Did you have a good
Oh man.
holiday?
Oh man, it was wonderful. I was listening to you earlier saying that you get to kick back and do nothing, and that's exactly what I did. I
Yeah.
kicked back and I did nothing.
Sometimes that's very important.
Oh man, that's therapy right there. That is therapy. I kicked back and
Oh,
I did nothing. That was wonderful.
yeah, that's how I felt, boy. I didn't have any, clients. A couple of people were trying to get me to do stuff, but I was like resistant to doing stuff. Because the only thing I wanted to do was
Yeah.
hang out with my plants. That's all I wanted to
I hear that.
So
I'm
I'm kind of
telling you, man,
excited.
so many people
Go ahead.
find therapy through planting and just tending to their gardens.
Yeah, that's why we do it so that we can step away, step away from all the madness. That's what we're doing it for. Stepping away from the madness.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so we get
So,
all our
what have you done last week, co-host? What did you do?
just this week I just kind of I'm trying to tighten up all of my adults before I go off to the world of youth and children, and
Oh,
so
okay.
that's what I kind of did. So getting everybody ready. I did have a number of coaching clients. In fact, on Thursday, was it Thursday? No, it was
Yeah.
Wednesday. I had back to back every hour, back to back from 10 o'clock in the morning all the way until about 5 o'clock. I had no
Oh
more
man.
words. I had nothing else that I could say to anybody. I didn't want to say anything to anybody. I was exhausted. I was just
Oh,
like done.
I can imagine. So you said that was Monday?
That was Wednesday. So
Oh,
I had
Wednesday.
talked out Wednesday. I had talked out.
You're all talked out.
I was all talked out. You
Oh
ever
my
so
Lord.
today our conversation is on cohort fatigue, but sometimes there's a coaching fatigue as well.
Yes, that is true. That is so true. Because here's the deal, man. Coaches like you and I, we're always trying to save everybody, and we can't really save everybody. So then that brings about fatigue. So I guess we're going to learn a lot today from the materials we're going to cover, right?
Yeah, because sometimes we have fatigue. You guys think you're fatigued because business coaching is very much similar to being a psychologist
Oh yeah.
or life coach because you're not just giving them you're not just giving you guys we're not giving you guys as business owners just the tips on business. We also have to add some encouragement to that. We got to add some motivation to that, as I said, some inspiration to that. There's a whole big mixture that goes with it, and then we have to do that every time with different people because everybody's needs are absolutely different. And
And
so
some shared experience as well. A lot of what we talk about is stuff we've been through. So having that shared experience is really good because it shows that, hey, we are a product of what we do.
we are a product what we do. Sometimes, we know that maybe you hadn't been doing things the right way, and so now you're looking like you're about ready to break down and run away, and we're like, okay, we can't let that happen. So then we got to encourage you and stroke you So it can be exhausting by the end of the day if you've
Oh
done,
yeah.
4 or 5 in an 8-hour day, and
Oh
you've
yeah.
done 6.5 or 6 consulting sessions. In fact, I think one of them canceled, and I didn't even have a problem with it. Good. At least I got to eat that hour.
See, when you get to that point, you know you need a break, man. You need a break.
Yes, you do.
Oh man.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about though today. So not just on your side, on our side too, um, what that looks like for us and for Gilbert and I both, and probably many of the consultants that are out here or the coaches that are out here. We don't just coach for ourselves; we coach for a number of organizations, and so and that's a different set of things because they're not necessarily your clients yet.
Right.
You're just presenting, but you do know they have needs, and because they have needs, then you want to make sure you're doing the best for their clients, just as you would be doing for your clients. And at some point, they may even become your clients if
Yep.
they like you enough. So,
Yep.
so
That is true.
that's what I say. So, but
Yeah,
today,
we're gonna have some great things for you guys today. My co-host, she's gonna go ahead and tell you guys how to connect with us, how to subscribe to us, how to be a guest on our show, and all that good stuff. So, co-host, you wanna tell our
yeah.
audience the
So
amazing things that we do here?
Okay, so you guys can go over to our YouTube channel. You will find, I think at this point, we probably have over close to 900 videos over there. We've been on the air for 9 years. And so you will find some great interviews with some of our guests that we've had on the show. You will also find some amazing class and sessions. And for this month, for the last couple of months, we've actually been doing class and sessions, and so since January, I guess.
Yeah,
You guys really want to go over there. We've talked about tariffs. We've talked about just a lot of the stuff that is going on in the capital of this country that is affecting you as business owners. Um, and so we kind of keeping everything relevant. So this is a thing that I think this week has been interesting, Gilbert. Yesterday the Supreme, one of the courts, not sure if it was the Supreme Court, but they put a kibosh to the tariff, saying that
or
the president didn't have he could not
authority,
by
authority.
yeah, he didn't have authority, and he could not bypass Congress and the
See,
Senate.
we knew that all along. I don't know why they were getting all excited thinking he has that power. He does not.
No, he does not have that power, but he thought he had that power. And so today he doesn't have it. Well, there's a kibosh, and I think it's permanently. I think he's trying to do something right now to circumvent that. But however, look how many businesses though that just
Got
tapped out.
impacted by
They
that.
they
Yeah.
right, and not just impacted. They stopped. They closed the doors. It's
Yeah.
very difficult to start your business back up after you have closed your doors.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That is
So
so
and
crazy.
laid off all your employees and just gone through all of the things that in order to because you didn't think you were going to be able to afford the tariffs, and you didn't want to pass that on over to your client, so you just like, okay, we're done. And so that's the saddest part about that, I think, is
Yeah.
that you cannot, it's just the catastrophic effects of actually people who are trying to um, make a living and be able to feed their families and all the time and energy they've invested in their business, and through no fault of your own, through um, uh, some external activities, they're putting you and your business in jeopardy. I just think it's just wrong on every kind of level you can talk about and think about.
Yeah. And I am so glad that the judges, the courts have come to their senses because I think if they didn't step in and do their jobs, it will be, legal malpractice for them to operate knowing that somebody is doing something illegal and not doing anything about it.
Well, yeah, because if we were doing something illegal, there would be some people that where there would be some consequences for us, and so but we're operating in this alter ego,
Yeah.
alter universe. I call it the twilight zone right now. So things that make sense, should make sense, really truly don't make sense to you or
Right.
I. We're just kind of dealing with it every single day, trying to make it make sense. Just make it make sense.
make
That's all we want to
Makes
do.
it
Just
make
make it make
sense.
sense.
Oh my lord.
Can you just do that? Make it make sense to us. All right, we're gonna jump on our topic, guys. So, as I said earlier, um, I had I was on one of my other podcasts, and this was a conversation that came up. We had someone talking about a cohort. If and some of you have actually participated in this, the uh, Goldman Sachs program, which is just amazing. It's an incredible program. I think that is the top. That is like the platinum package of cohorts or business support programs. That Goldman Sachs, everyone. I have several clients that have gone through it, and it was an amazing experience. It really changed how they did business. But with that, there was someone that felt that um, they felt a little bit burnt out with a lot of the programs. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So and hopefully, you guys will take something from this. And if you are feeling that way, then we hopefully we'll give you some solutions. So today we're going to delve in why many entrepreneurs are worn out by their business support programs and what actually leads to that fatigue, and most importantly, how to recover, refocus, and select the right programs that is actually going to bring you genuine growth. And so, what is your thought process on cohort fatigue, Gilbert?
Well, I really do see that happening. As a matter of fact, I taught a class yesterday for the USC VDC program. It's an entrepreneurship program that's running from March to June. And they
Mm-hmm.
have over 40 entrepreneurs in that program. And some of the entrepreneurs I see in that program, they've been in many of our classes, our program too. So we know they're suffering from cohort burnout because they go from program to program to program. And the question is, when do we stop going to all these different programs and start focusing on our business to let it grow? So
Exactly. When do you apply what you
yeah,
learn? Because if you just keep going and going and you don't apply, and then yes, some of it seems like
yeah,
repetition. Because what did somebody tell me today? You can't make up new alphabets. The eight alphabets are the 26 alphabets are the alphabets, and so the same thing with business. It is not there's no new components to it.
right,
There may be trends
yeah,
and different twists, and of course there's different
hmm
industries. But basically, what you're learning is the same thing. Everybody's teaching the same thing. It's just I got my way, he's got his
hmm
way, or anybody else is out there. So yeah, it probably does sound like it's
oh yeah,
repetition. And at some point, I think I heard someone say, "Well, yeah, I could actually teach the program." You
yeah.
probably
I've
could.
attended so many times. You've attended so many
I think
times.
I told a client that the other day, and she was doing. I said, "You know what? You don't need to attend any more programs." I said, "Because at this point, you probably could teach a number of them
Yeah.
yourself." And she laughed. She goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah. How many of you attended in the last 2 years?" And she gave me some 7 or 8 programs. Well, we're all teaching basically the
Uh,
same thing. Um, Now you just got to apply. that information. But let's give you the definition of what cohort fatigue is, or business support programs fatigue, because I think cohort is just the number is just a series of classes for a time period. That is what a cohort
Mm-hmm.
is, and that really, in my opinion, that word came from corporate America. I don't know, because before, when I was doing workshops and classes, we just called it. Yeah, we're doing a business plan series. That's really what it was, a business plan series from step one to the concept to step 10 to the launching. That was it, right? But I think that the word cohort came along to separate the different programs that organizations may be having. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing. But the definition is having emotionally strategic burnout from participating in too many business programs or accelerated programs without seeing any tangible progress. And usually the early signs are frustration, cynicism, disengagement, and program hopping, and of course, finally, loss of motivation. And sometimes I've seen that in, if you actually, when we were live, when we were doing this type of stuff
Yeah.
live, you could actually see it on their faces,
Hmm.
right? So, but now so many people, and I think it might probably more, you can go to more, but it's a little bit more challenging when it's online, because us, the people that are presenting, we can't see if you are stressed or
All
fatigued,
right.
because we can't see you if you're not coming on, if you're not visible.
But
So we really
But
truly
but
don't
you
know what's
but you know
happening.
what though, co-host, as professional coaches, we can figure out if they're burnt out or not because when we give them assignments to do, and they have due dates, and we notice that they haven't done it, they haven't showed up, they haven't presented it, there is something going on there, and chances are it's usually burnout that's getting to them. So yeah, we've got ways of figuring it out as professional coaches.
Exactly. Now here's some things, and this is like the why is it happening? So here's some things that I've noticed. Um, what depending on the stage you are in your business. Let's say you're still in the infancy stage. This is you may have had a soft
Yeah.
launch, but you're still in the process of getting all of your documents in
Hmm.
place, all of your licensures, all of your website up, all of these things. So you're still in early
Yeah.
phase
All right.
one. You're just a tad bit beyond the concept, but you truly don't know how is it going to really
Yeah.
work, because you haven't sold anything, you haven't gone out there and actually put the business in work mode. Um, and so I do see some people that are in cohorts that are not ready for that
Right.
cohort
Right.
yet. So if you are just starting your business and you go to a cohort for what Gilbert teaches, contracts, and you haven't established the foundation
Right.
yet, that's going to be a little bit above your
Hmm.
head,
That's
don't you
true.
think?
Because they don't even know what documents they need to run their business yet. So if you don't know what documents you need to run your business, how are you going to go to the next level to try to get contracts? Just not ready.
Not just ready. And so then that's a challenge for you. So that would be what we call mismatch between the cohort content and your business
Yeah.
stage, right? You got to make sure, based upon where you are, that you're ready for what they're about to deliver, because the more advanced the program is, the more they're going to expect out
Yeah.
of you, as Gilbert was saying, homework,
Hmm.
right? Now they want you to be able to produce your capability statement, but you can't because you haven't defined what the business is or what services
Right.
you're gonna offer. So it's challenging for you to do
Hmm.
that. So that might be more. I mean, if it's an informational type of how contracts are
Yeah.
done, but Gilbert is, you don't teach those kind of classes. You teach the ABCs and the connect the
Yeah.
dots and to be
Right.
ready kind of
Right.
classes,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So So that's one of the things why it happens. You may not be ready for what the program is offering you. And the next one is poor vetting, both by you, the applicant, and the program's host.
Hmm.
Um, the host may not know who their audience is, and they just do a mass mailing, and it's incorporating everything and everybody. But you might get some high performance businesses in there, and then those businesses are going to feel that wait, I'm this is this is too this is uh, I'm not at this place. I'm far beyond this place, and I need to have that next level type of instruction. How do I scale up? How do I grow? How do I hire employees? How do I do contracts? But in the meantime, you're in a class that is really for individuals that are just starting out.
And co-host, I think we should add this additional point for the audience so they know exactly, and they can, some of them can identify with what we're saying, because we're talking about the startup phase of your business. That's usually 0 to 3 years old. So 0 would be you just started this year, and up to 3 years they consider that the startup phase. So if you're going to the bank, looking for funding, insurance company, contract providers, they consider a startup to be 0 to 3 years. So we just want to throw that in there. So if you're in business at the 0 to 3 years time frame, and then you attend a class that we're offering for advanced businesses that should be in business for 5 years and beyond, or 7 years and beyond, there's no way you're going to fit in as an entrepreneur in that class program, because there are some things that you missed. There are some things that you still needed to learn in order to get to that level. And that's another reason, co-host, why we see some people attend classes and they just don't fit in, and they're trying to figure out, hey, why? What's going on? Those are some of the mismatches that we see.
Yeah, I think so. That's exactly correct, Gilbert. We have Edward. Hello, Edward. Glad to have you. Edward, how's business going? Edward just bought a franchise business, the edibles
Oh,
and the fruit
all
edibles.
right.
So welcome, Edward.
Edward, man.
Yeah.
Edward, this is great seeing you, brother. Thanks for joining us. What phase are you at in your business? How many years have you been in?
He just bought it. He just like launched. I don't even know if he's had the official grand opening. He may have had a soft opening, but Edward actually bought a business that was existing already and functioning, and the owner, the previous owner was ready to move on and do something
So it
different. So he's actually got clients and
so it
everything.
probably come with an operational guide then, because usually an established business usually have standard operating procedures that will, instruct the staff and employees what's going on, what they need to do. If you're going to do outreach, this is how you do outreach. If you're going to prepare a bank application to get funding from the bank, this is a process. This is how it goes. So, maybe he has something like that, which is a great guide. Um, uh,
Yeah, that's sometimes the benefit of buying into a franchise that because it's already a ready-made. What do they call it?
turnkey,
When you buy a house,
turnkey.
turnkey
Yeah.
ready. Yeah, so everything is already in place and it's already been generating revenue, and so that's a good thing. But he said 2016, but we're still navigating and learning. 2017. Last night I had no Thursday. Yeah, last night. Thursday was last night. I did a class for one of my clients on business tax, and it was interesting business tax and risk management. And I had a number of individuals that were in the class that were enrolled tax agents. Um, I had some insurance agents. There's like three people that were doing taxes, and then three people, or one person doing insurance. And so, of course, I'm talking basics because this is just fundamentals, the fundamentals of risk management for new businesses. But as a presenter, um, yeah, he said they give you SOPs, but systems and processes are on your own. Um, so as a presenter, though, because I like to know who's in the room with me, I was able to engage them so that they wouldn't find it just so mediocre for them, mediocre for them, or remedial for them. And so it actually turned out well. And then, of course, if somebody's selling insurance and I get to the point about risk management and what kind of insurance you have, then I can say, like, okay, I'm going to turn it on over to you. Now you tell them what kind of packages out there, and what the average cost is. So they actually augmented my class, which
That's
was
good.
great.
So you did a nice little transition into them. That's great.
Yeah, so that's kind of how I tie in people so that they don't get bored. But in the beginning, I know I used to teach a Excel class for one of the organizations, but I was teaching very basic, just how you use Excel in augmenting QuickBooks or any accounting system. I wasn't teaching pivotal tables and any of that. So I had to tell them up front, this is basic, basic, basic Excel. If you're looking for something more than basic, then this is not the class for you, because this is just how to set up a cell, how to get it to calculate, how to that's all. That's all we doing. How to format it, but we're not. And so, my being able to be transparent on the front end was very helpful, so that they could make their own decisions. Because,
Mm-mm-mm.
and then the other ones actually enjoyed it, and then someone was like, "Oh my God, I never knew how to use this," and they were pleased as punch. So I pleased them, but not somebody that had been doing it. So the next one is repetitive curriculum. As I just said, everybody starts with the 101, the basics of teaching the same material 101. But if you're beyond that, Edward just made a good point. He says it doesn't matter really what stage you are in. You can always learn, because everyone everyone has a different uh, method, right, or a different way to teach it. And so and a different circumstances and different solutions, and also different experiences that should be incorporated in your presentation. So I think you can learn a little bit more. I think you just have to go in it with an open mind.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot, Edward. But what we were talking about is if we're teaching capability statement classes, and for 4 consecutive cohorts we have capability statement, and you are in those classes 4 times, then that means it's not an effective use of your time. You should have gotten the gist from 1 or 2, but 3, 4, that's like too many, and that's where the burnout comes in. So that's why I was saying that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, enjoy. He's going over to a podcast on Fontana's Chamber. Thank you for dropping in. See you next
Hey,
time.
take care, my
Um,
brother.
the other one is lack of empathy or cultural competency in under delivering, and that can happen as well. Just depends on you need to do your due diligence on where these individuals are, who is teaching. A lot of times, the if you go to their websites before you sign up, you can actually see who's teaching in some cases. Some agencies don't do that. That way you can kind of Google the person, the presenter, and on their LinkedIn, and it kind of will give you some insight of what they teach. And or their websites, you can also see if they have links to their presentations, because everybody's got videos on something. Um, I've not had that problem for me, but by the time I get around, everybody already heard about me, and so they're excited to be there. What about you? You too, because I hear about my workshops.
They talk about me.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're a celebrity too in your own right.
they do the same in mine too. They talk about you. Oh, Crystal said this. Crystal said that. So yeah, I guess we encounter the same types of things, which is good, because that means you're creating an impact, and they're remembering what you're saying, and they're using it as a guide to take them through the journey of entrepreneurship to get them to where they need to be. But yes, I do see people come in, and then they go through the process with us, and even people who have repeated some of the courses. Sometimes when we're saying stuff, because I certainly don't teach the same way all the time. So if I'm teaching capability statement, the next time I teach it, you're going to hear some different things about capability statement, because I've done some new research, I've found some new data, that type of thing. So I want to share that too. So you'll hear that. So sometimes when you see the look on their faces and they're going, uh-huh, it's like, yeah, yeah, we're getting to them. They're learning something here. So
Right, exactly. And if I see a core of people that have been in other workshops of mine have come back when I used to teach for the New Women's Business Center, I taught the same class
yeah,
every month. It just
yeah.
rolls around. Same thing I do at Vermont Sloss. It's the same two classes
Hmm.
that I teach. And so with that one, I would have to make some changes if I looked it up and I saw somebody that was there from like 3 or 4 classes back, or they've been in some other classes of mine. Then you're like, oh, okay, let me just kind of use let me just do something different here, so they
Yeah.
don't get bored.
Hmm.
So that's what. But I have been in a different capacity when I was in as a co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, and we had to have uh, some of our sponsors wanted to send coaches. They wanted to send presenters to us for certain classes, and
Hmm.
then I wasn't teaching, of course. They were, and some of it is like, and I'm listening, going, and then I'd
So
have to find myself sitting in the back of the room so I wouldn't make any comments
the
because
so
because
the
it could be.
participants are pretty much telling them, hey, that's not really what it is, because sometimes it's not making sense, right?
Yeah, sometimes I'm going, that's an interesting take on that. And then, or like, no, that's not true. But I'm not saying anything. But of course, if somebody's been in my classes, then they'll go, well, Crystal says. I'm like, oh, Lord. So I would go sit in the back of the class so they wouldn't use me to make the people feel uncomfortable because our sponsorship was predicated on that. So, yeah, I'd go sit in the back of the class and just not, yeah,
So
no.
even though you wanted to intervene, you had to keep your mouth shut and not say anything.
Yeah. And then what would happen is they would take a break and then they'd come over and go, wait a minute, I've heard, what is your name? And then I tell, oh, I've heard about you. And I like, and then then of course, now they'd up the game. When they come back to do it after break, then they'd up the game because they know that I'm sitting there. So now they got to, I guess, prove it to me that they do know more than what they're saying here. It's actually kind of an interesting exchange.
That's hilarious.
um, So the next one is over promising. So this is what actually the comment that I heard the other day that you go there because the cohort, I mean the description is saying they're going to tell you how to get grants and they're going to give you capital access. And then of course you get there and it's different. Now I have actually seen this when bankers do access to capital workshops, and I've looked around the room, and as soon as they get to uh, talking about that your credit score
Hmm.
or building business credit, and then they're pretty hardcore on that, right? Because bankers are really, I mean, access to capital when you go to a bank is that the only thing they really care about is how you're gonna pay them back. And so
Yeah.
and so they're marking off and they're saying it very emphatically, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do, and if you got a really bad credit score, anything below this and then and I see the eyes just gloss over, and at that point, they didn't checked out because as soon as you start talking about credit,
Yeah.
I have found that people just freeze up, right? Because that is one of the areas for them it's embarrassment. For them, it has been really a frustrating challenge for them trying to find capital for their business. And
Yeah.
so I have seen that a lot when you go to those access to capitals, and mostly everyone that's delivering are bankers.
And I just want to add a little bit to that too. Sometimes when small businesses get embarrassed about their credit score or anything about having to do with credit, it's not because of the business, it's because of their personal challenges. So many of these small businesses, they combine their business activity with the personal. So they're going off the credit score of the personal. And it should
Hmm.
be for the business. So, and many of them don't understand the difference. Or when they do go to a bank, they allow the bank to lump their business activity in with the personal. You see what I mean? So it's like how can I say this? Double jeopardy. It's like double jeopardy because you're telling them not to commingle their funds, but at the same time, you're evaluating them on personal and the business. You see what I mean? So it's like there's no win for the small business because how are you going to tell me not to commingle my personal funds with the business funds, but then you're evaluating me on my personal credit? you know, it's
Okay,
crazy.
that was weird.
It's crazy. So these are things that
And now
we
I can't get
try to
on.
make sure.
To get oh,
Go ahead, co-host.
there
Go
we
ahead.
go. Uh, All right, sorry about that. I had my system just kicked out.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. So what happens is you as a you're I always come at it this way that we've all been through personal things. You know, you could have had a divorce, you could have had illness. Um, you know, you most of everybody on this planet haven't really had uh that don't have a real understanding of financial literacy. So if that's been perpetuated from generation to generation in your family,
yeah,
then what's going to happen is you if no one's taught you how to use money, what money's about, how to manage your bills, and how not to be overextended. Then where would you have learned that from, right?
right,
So that's
right.
those are some lessons things. In fact, I heard John Hope Bryan from Operation Hope Save the Day. I was listening to him and a young lady. He does a podcast as well. I think his financial and business podcast is rated number 40 on the podcast list. And he was talking about, he said, heck, I've had two cars repossessed. He said, I wasn't always at this credit score. He said, I've had
Yeah.
a score that was lower than low. He said, but that's why I do what I do because I recognize how important it is. So then I went decided I needed to fix it, and now he teaches about that all the time. Financial literacy is his thing. When he started Operation Hope in '92, that was the whole sole purpose. You need to be home ownership bound, but if you got to start with the credit. So I always start there, and I always say credit is one of those things that can be fixed.
Yeah.
You just have to dig in there and find out what you owe. And if you can repair it, you can. You got to just pay your bills before the 31st day. If you get everything in there by the 31st day, if you call your creditors when you are behind, if you're not overextended, because that's a big issue, being overextended
Yeah.
in credit, and then you can learn to manage it. But and then every 10 years, it turns around anyway. So
All right.
every 10 years you get a new opportunity.
Hmm. That
Or
is
and
true.
as we right, and as we were talking about last week, in the world of the rich, that's just a leverage for them, man. They leverage that debt and they just keep it pushing. But everything is in business names. So if you
Right.
get your LLC or your corporation and separate yourself, your personal from your business, then if you got to go bankrupt, it's the business that's going bankrupt, not you personally.
So, see, that's what I was saying to you earlier, co-host, before your audio went out. I was
Mhm.
saying that it seemed like double jeopardy to me because lenders and others are trying to tell small businesses that they're not supposed to commingle their funding. They don't want to
Mm-hmm.
commingle the personal with the business. However, when they go to evaluate them for a loan, they're evaluating them on their personal performance as well as the business performance. So how can you have it both ways? How can you tell them not to commingle the funds because it's going to harm them and you don't take kindly to that, but you're evaluating them on commingling their funds? It makes no sense to me.
You're absolutely right. Um, Also, grants is another thing. So grants is not something that just everybody can get. You do have to have a nonprofit organization, and that nonprofit organization, just like a for-profit, has to be in good standing. And grants is about being able to write a proposal and convince the person that's going to review that proposal that you know what you're talking about and that you're really going to service a certain population and that there are going to
Yeah.
be some outcomes and measures to that grant. And so if you're going to a presentation about grants, it is going to be generic. It's just going to kind of tell you the ABCs and the 101s on how that works, unless you're going to an organization or you're going to a presentation that's specifically on acquiring grants from someone that has excellent reputation in acquiring those grants. So whenever I have nonprofits talk to me about that, here in Los Angeles, there's an organization called the Grantsmanship Center, and they've been in business for over 100 years, and they
What is
know
it?
what they're
What
talking about.
what is
It's
it
called
called?
the
Grantsmanship?
Center,
Oh, okay.
and they have been in business literally for I think it's like 125 years.
Do you
And
think you
when you
can get them on the show? I
um
guess.
I'll have to check and see if there's. I know my we sent, and here's what I do. So I send because we did this with our grant writer for Pete Brown, the tennis program that I'm in. And when our board said, okay, we can hire a grant writer, then we wanted to make sure that that grant writer was successful. I didn't want to hear what he had done before, which I know he had done some stuff, but I didn't
Right.
want to hear that. So we sent him there. It was a 5 week program. It's a $1,500 program, but if you're a nonprofit and you submit your nonprofit articles and 501c3 status, then they reduce it down to $250 for
All
five.
right.
And it was at the time he chose to go there. But I will say this: he every grant he writes, he gets, and he's
Mm.
been with us now for 4 years and 5 years now. And because they taught him how to read just like a RFP, how to read what the grant is asking for and address it specifically, no flowery, whatever, whatever. They want to know exactly how you're going to carry it out, and then be able to go through each and every one of the questions. And so with that, he's very successful. Um, so I would say that from a grant standpoint, access to capital is a personal thing, but you can go to some cohorts. That's all they're talking about, and they're bringing you bankers who's giving you insight and introducing you to these people. So now later on, you can follow up with them and then have a conversation on about you individually, not the whole entire classroom, because everybody has different needs. So that's what I say
Right.
about going
Right.
to those type of programs. You got to know exactly what you're going to learn from it. That's what I think.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
That sounds good. That clears it up for me.
yeah. And so, and then no follow up. I don't know. Follow up from the organization is usually they will send you the copy of the video if it's a online type of environment. If you're in a cohort and they're not, there's not cohesiveness and conversation going back and forth, and consistency, then yeah, they're not going to follow up. But if it's that kind of cohort like you and I teach at,
Right.
I do believe that there is follow up, especially the ones I teach at.
Right. Right.
And I would imagine the one you did the other day, she does a great job at following up, right?
Yes, she does.
Um, yeah. So, all right. So now here's the thing, guys. Um, what the data says about cohorts. So, if you research or surveys organizations such as the SBA, the Urban League, SCORE, all of those, they actually use their data that they collect from you when you're applying for loans
Yeah.
and when you're participating in workshops. So they take all of the information that they're getting from you when you
Mhm.
sign in, and then they compile that in a system, and then they generate data to determine whether or not this is a viable program for them to continue to have. And so, but there are some others that don't do that. They just do workshops because it's to get people in the door. So you really want to make sure whoever you are participating with, you want to do your research on them as well. Would you
Right.
agree, Coach?
Oh,
I
oh, for
mean,
sure.
Coach Gilbert.
For
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And you're spot on with what you say. You know, that's great advice, great information. That has worked for me on several occasions with different clients. So, yes, that's certainly a good way to go about it.
Right, and then and if depending on the person that's participating, it's usually not their event, but however, if there's some availability, like when I teach at Vermont Slauson, I'm teaching a QuickBooks class or accounting software class, and I'm teaching business taxes. So on the accounting software
Mhm.
class, if the goal is to get you into the program, and then they offer, a lot of them offer counseling, or they allocate certain hours to you, so that you can then go to that particular person and they can help you with getting what you need. So,
Yeah.
uh, if I'm teaching an accounting software program, then generally the agency that I'm teaching for is going to allocate hours for their client to come to
Right.
me to help them set up. And so at that point, we are engaging for at least 5 hours. And my goal is when you leave me, that you actually have a program set up and you know how to use it. So,
Right.
and then if
Right.
you need my
Right.
services after that, then it's on you to make that happen. And I know that's what happens with Glack.
Hmm.
They actually um, they allocate hours and time, and then after the cohort is over, if you want to speak to myself or Gilbert, then you have to become our client, and then that way you're paying us directly. Um, and that's how that works. So, but most of those agencies are actually collecting the data to see how many business owners repeat programs and are looking for
Hmm.
programs. They
Right.
want to see how many the percentage of programs that don't offer follow up support, and then they're also looking at their retention and their completion rate. So, so those kind of programs do. So you do have to do your vetting to make sure the program that you are going to participate in is the
Hmm.
program that is right for you.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
so,
sense.
and right. And so now, Gilbert, you're getting ready to do a cohort, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking that we may do it within the next 6 weeks because we need some time to market and all of that. So 6 weeks, we're doing next level contract readiness. So this next level means that we're not doing startup businesses. We're doing existing businesses that's been in business for 5 years or more. And then, we go in, make sure they have all the key paperwork that they need, the key documentation, to make them eligible and also to keep them running so that they can look attractive in the eyes of contract providers.
Okay, so you guys next level. So that if you're not in that next level, if you're not, what do you say, a 5 year or 3 to 5 year,
Yeah, 5 years,
then
5 and beyond.
5 years and beyond. So that would this class might be a little bit above your above where you are right now. And
Hmm.
so you might want to find out, what other classes that have the more basic programming for what you need to get in it. Now, Gilbert does have a platform that can help you with that, and it helps you see if it's an assessment tool he uses, and it gives you exactly where you are in your business and what you
Yeah.
need to do to fix it if you're not um, a certain percentage of the scoring, right?
Yes. And you see how we went over the business life cycle earlier, briefly earlier.
Hmm.
The four different stages. Some people say five. That's because they're counting the pre-launch phase, but it's supposed to be four stages in the business cycle. So also when we do this assessment program, it lets the business owner know what what stage they're in, which one of the four stages, because many of them may think they're at the peak stage. That's when they're
Hmm.
getting contracts, they're making money, all kinds of things. They think they're at that, but they're not. You know.
Mm.
a lot of a lot of entrepreneurs, they they have this over evaluated sense of their business's value, and it's not usually that way. So when we do these assessment, the assessment brings some realism to stuff, make people start.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, yeah, and you have to be, and that's the one thing you do have to be. You have to be honest with yourself where you are.
Yeah,
Because and that's why I always ask when I don't care who I'm teaching for, where I just introduce myself. Now I need to know where you guys are, and so that way I know what I'm teaching is geared more to you. Now, if I have a classroom that the balance is more startup, then my
yeah,
topics are going to be more startup, and I'm going to tell the ones that have been in business for 4 or 5 years. This is probably a refresher for you,
yeah,
but for 85% of this class, they're all startups. So I can't go above their head. Now, if you want to go to a class that is more geared to you, then I can refer you to some of the other classes that I teach, and
right,
that way you won't feel like you're wasting your time. And
exactly,
that's right. And so, as a business owner, as a participant of these cohorts, the way you avoid uh, uh, cohort fatigue is to do your vetting. Make sure the right program for wherever you are in the phase of the business that you're doing. You have to ask
hmm,
those questions. If you're going to go sign up and you're not sure, then there's usually an email or some sort of contact information, and you can reach out to them, and they can and email them and ask them what level is this, right? So that way you
right,
know, right? And if they're saying things like Gilbert just said, 5 years and above, and making a certain, bringing in or generating a certain amount of revenue, and
yeah,
you're at 10,000 a year, then you know. And even if you've been in business for 5 years, it's still
yeah,
he ain't telling you that. He's telling you 5 years and been able to generate and have generated revenue. Probably got a couple of employees, not
yeah.
5 years because you've been dragging this launch stage out for 5 years.
And
that
see,
that doesn't. Go ahead.
the reason I didn't say how much revenue they should be bringing in is because it depends on the industry. So based on their industry, I could tell them, like for example, a sole proprietorship. If you're, let's say, you're professional services, you've been in business, say, 5 years, 3 to 5 years.
Hmm.
You should be bringing in at least 150K a year as revenues. You see what I'm saying? So,
Mm-hmm.
but for construction, it might be a little different. It may be, you know, 300K, maybe 400K. You know, so it would be
Right.
200 to about 400K for
Right. Exactly.
construction.
Because you right, and because then that way you're getting the most out of the cohort or the business mentor
Yeah,
program that he's running.
yeah,
'Cause right, and then it'd be beneficial for both of you because there's nothing
yes,
worse than in a classroom when you're wanting to speak to advanced business owners and you find that 50% of your program of the people in the room are not even there yet.
right, right.
They don't have business bank accounts. They don't have. Yeah, they're still at the beginning stage of business, right? So and that makes it a little challenging for you.
Yeah.
So it's important for us as businesses. I know when I did cohorts and all that sort of stuff, well, business programs, but I knew where I was,
Hmm.
and I even still do it if in order to enhance my skill set and my knowledge base, I go take them, but I'm not going to one that is that's beginning stage. I'm
Yeah,
going to a higher level one, right? I'm
yeah.
going so that I can be able to take that information and regurgitate it to you. And even when I have people in my cohort that are doing what I do, then I
Hmm.
don't have a problem sharing. There's tons of people out there for you to do. So I give
Right,
them some different insights, right? So,
right.
but you have to create your own personal growth plan where you are now and where you want to be after you participate in a program, and more even before the program, where do you want to be in the next 2 to 3 to 5 years in your business? If you want to generate more revenue, then but you don't have all the tools, then you have to go to programs, marketing classes, uh, classes of that nature so you know how to bring in more people so you can then generate
Hmm.
more
Right, right.
revenue.
And those are some of the things that are lacking right now with entrepreneurs. They're not thinking about that. Those growth plans that you're talking about, they're not thinking about that. They may think about it, but it's in their head. You know, it's not on paper. They don't
Right.
have an operating plan. You know?
And you
Oh
have
man.
to, and I think the other part of that is you have to have a coach can help you a lot. A coach
Yes.
is that like Gilbert and I, we can help you as a business owner really define where you need to be,
Right.
and some steps on how you can get there, right?
Right.
And if there are other workshops out there that we're not doing, we're going
Hmm.
to make sure that we direct you in the right place, because
Right.
that's really really important to us. That just the nature of what we do for a living.
Yeah, because our goal is to help you to grow. That's really what it's all about. And while growing, we're making sure that we coach and guide you against burnout, because burnout is not good for anyone. So, you know, by guiding you, showing you some things, and you know, some of the folks that we coach and guide, we get to learn some interesting things about them, because some of these folks are some of the folks who they like to take advice from those street corner consultants. You know, those street corner
Mm.
consultants tell them all kinds of things. Oh yeah, you got to get a corporation. No, no, no. Get an LLC because that's better for you. And you know what? My uncle, he had a sole proprietorship. That works very well. I got you all
Exactly.
over the place.
And here's the thing: they never tell you what they do. They never tell
No.
you that. Yeah, like someone told me, I had taught a class at Vermont Slauson, and this is like it's called the EMI. I think it was the EMI program. And I'm
Yeah.
going through the whole financial management, right? And I'm telling
Yeah.
them all this stuff, and eyeballs are like this big. And so there was one guy. Someone asked me, "Can you just walk away from an LLC?" And I mean, I'm
And
like,
what did he say? Yes.
no,
Did he say yes?
no, yeah, yeah. Well, he asked me, and I
Oh,
said,
okay, okay. I thought it
no,
was a street corner consultant in there
no. But he did
advising.
get he got the information from the street corner consultant, and the street corner consultant told him, yes, you just if you're not doing the business anymore, just forget about it. You don't have to do anything. So
Oh
I
my
said to
Lord.
him, I said, well, you do know that with that corporation that you set up, that you have an $800 commitment in January that you have to pay every year, whether you doing business or making money or not. He goes, what? I said, the $800 self-employment tax that is due every year in January by the 31st. And he said, but my friend, I said, oh, is he?
The street corner
No, no.
consultant, right?
He was so. Why would he tell me that? Because now it's like 3, 4 years, so that $800 been collected. And I said, you cannot dissolve a company if you have not paid in your self-employment tax, and if you owe money to other people, you can't dissolve it. You have to clear all that up before. He was
You
just
know,
hurt, just
you know,
hurt.
I just want to put this out there because I like to simplify things because sometimes, people understand that better. So, folks, I want to put this out there to you guys. If you are taking advice from these street corner consultants who know nothing about business, never own a business in their life, but they're giving you business advice, I want you to think about this. When you own a business, it's like being in a marriage. When you own a business, it's like being in a marriage. Okay, you cannot walk away from the marriage just like that. You cannot get up and say, you know what, honey, I don't love you anymore. I'm gone. It doesn't work that way. You still have obligations. And that tax you pay every year, that's your child support that you're paying in the business. You're paying that child support to the state for your business. Okay.
Right. So you can't walk away from the child, not until the child is 18 years old. And so therefore you cannot walk away from a business. You
Oh my
have to be
Lord.
able to pay all of your debt, and most importantly, you have to be able to pay off all of that as self-employment tax. And then let me tell you what that self-employment tax is. This is something else that they never got. What
Mhm.
exactly that self-employment tax is for? They think that you're just paying money to the state of California. That's what most people think. And then when I tell them when I'm doing my tax class, no, that is actually your you're depositing into your Social Security and Medicare account because you're no longer working for someone. So when you
Yeah,
turn 65, you want to be able to collect your benefit. And so
yeah.
that's what your $800 is for. And they're like, oh, it's for me? And then all the animosity to the fact that the state of California is taking that $800 away from them, it goes away, just slides right on out the door, just like, oh, I didn't know that, because of course whoever is telling you to do that don't know, they don't know, so they can't tell you.
And they probably don't even own a business, so they're giving you advice, all willy nilly, without even understanding what's going on.
Exactly. Um, and then there's another side. I was talking to a colleague of mine today. So now we're talking about the people that they just kind of starting these businesses, and so of course they gonna wear out the cohorts, right? But there
Yeah,
is a group who have been working so hard at their business that don't even know that there's support out there for them.
right, right, right.
Meaning they got into business years ago. The business has been making money. The business, they just doing their thing, right? But then
Hmm.
along comes a pandemic or a recessional downturn, or a tariff war. And
Yeah,
now they're just standing like, what do we do with this, right? Because they've
yeah.
been able to do, and they've been working so hard in their business. They have not been able to partake of anyone helping them, any cohorts or coaches or any of that.
Yeah.
And they just feel like they're out on an island all by themselves,
Right.
and they feel so lost, and because they don't have anyone to bounce that off on. In what usually happens is they just walk away in frustration from a very lucrative business that could turn around if they had had some guidance or attended some workshops and so forth and so on. So that's a sad part right there, because I talked to somebody the other day like that, and that person was, making six figures at one point, and then just life just kind of came in and crowded into their world, and they couldn't stay focused, and then they realized that they did never secured the foundation, the system for the foundation of the business. The foundation
Hmm.
was rocky, and so because it wasn't solid, when those things start happening, they didn't have any resources, they didn't have any tools, they didn't have any strategy, right?
Right.
And so then they find themselves like, they just want to go crawl in a hole and walk away from it. And but if you've been making money at it, if you've been making money at a business without that, just imagine what you could do with some tools,
Yeah.
some coaching, some skill sets, in a space that's not your space. So that's what you have
Right.
to think about. If, like you tell Gilbert, you say it all the time, you're not, marketing is not your thing.
That's right.
So what do?
So
You hire somebody that it is their thing, right?
you
Um,
hire the resource. That's a talent. There's skill in that.
right, exactly. And you put all your energy into what you do, what you
Yeah.
are skilled at, and then you hire out. And so that's the same thing with people who have very successful businesses, but they know their craft
Yeah.
and how to do their craft. And I find this in the creative space all the time.
Right. Right. Right.
All the time they have that. So, did you want to read your list? Because you had a list. Do you have your list to
Hey,
rank?
oh yeah, I got a list right here, and you and I can go over it together. I mean, the one I
Okay.
sent you, so we
Mhm.
could just bounce back and forth on it. So the first item said you feel overwhelmed by the number of programs or cohorts you're involved in simultaneously. It says you find it hard to keep up with meetings, assignments, or networking activities. You notice a decline in your motivation and enthusiasm for cohort activities. That's kind of what we talked about earlier. You're going to all these classes, you're doing capability statement four times now back to back. It's like, come on. At some point, you gotta get the gist of it, and not wanting
Mhm.
to deal with it. It says you're experiencing burnout and mental exhaustion related to ongoing commitment. So if you don't know what the symptoms are, folks, and you're going through these things as an entrepreneur, your chances are you're going through burnout and exhaustion. So the next item here on the list, it says you feel disconnected. So go ahead, co-host. These are
You,
symptoms.
yeah, disconnected or disengaged from the community or peers in the cohort. So that just basically, you come in and you just there because you figure you should be there, but you're really not connecting. You're not asking any questions. You're not really getting. You walk away feeling like you didn't get anything, because at that point, I think you just have gone into information shutdown, right?
And
And your brain.
we see this over and over in many of our workshops. People are just sitting there and they're spaced out, right?
Yeah, they you asking them questions, you trying to engage them, and they just they okay, I'm here. I signed
Yeah.
in. That's what I did. I signed in. So and it's just information overload. You just can't take in any more information, and you don't know how at this point how to apply it to your business. And so now you're just kind of in a burnout mode, and now you're feeling pretty negative about all programs. And so that's the next one. You start questioning the value or the impact
Yeah.
of the programs you're participating in, because you just can't take anything else in. You didn't drunk in all the information, and it's just all just sitting there. and you're like, I'm full. I'm just full.
Yeah.
I can't do no more. I'm
I
full.
can't take anymore. I'm full. This is it. And you start wondering, hey, is this really worth my time? Me sitting here for 2 hours, is it worth it? Could I be making money somewhere else? That's the kind of thing they're thinking about there.
Exactly. And then the next is just inevitable. You frequently are postponing or skipping on sessions or activities. You
Yeah,
dread
you
that
see
that
a
day
lot
is
of
going to
that
come.
though, Coles. You see a lot of that
I
with
do.
some of your
Yeah,
participants,
I
right?
do.
They keep
I do. I do.
canceling, or they don't even call you to reschedule or anything. They just don't show up.
They just don't show up. Because at that point, you're like, okay, then they're just in overload. I also see that, of course, when I'm doing accounting with them or trying to help them, and they just feel some people just have a block
Yeah.
for learning that. And then I kind of have to adjust it so it becomes more about making the money and counting your
Hmm.
money as opposed to it being this bookkeeping task. No, it's like, how much money did you make last month? How much money does it
Right.
take you to run your business? And then when you start asking those
Hmm.
questions, they're like, well, where am I supposed to find that? In that class that you were scheduled for.
Oh man, it's amazing, how these things work.
Right. You're experiencing frustration or disappointment about your progress and despite your the participation, and that really just comes down to: are you really applying? Have you taken time out between your cohorts or through your program and really applied it? And you really should be applying it while you're learning it, right? So
Yes,
they're
yes.
teaching you how to a pricing strategy. Then you go back to your own, not some abstract. You go back to what you're selling, and you start to think about, wait a minute, um, I have these costs, I have these costs of goods, I have this labor. Here's the money, the amount that I'm making, and wait, I'm in the negative. Now
Yeah,
that pricing strategy is going to come into handy because they're going to tell you, that person is telling you, you got to back into a number, right? Because
yeah,
based upon what it's costing you to deliver your product, then you want to make your pricing higher. So you at least add in, depending on the industry, at
yeah.
least a 10 to 15% profit margin in that. And it
Hmm.
could be more depending on if you're in retail. It could be less if you're in the food industry. It could be less if you have a business that you have to have
Yeah,
labor. Then at that point, you need some product. You need a service that doesn't need the same
yeah.
labor intensity, and that way you'll get more, or variable expenses. That way you'll get more out of the profit. Once we start
Right.
talking money, then I got their full undivided attention. But if you're just but if you're learning certain things, Gilbert teaching you how to put together your capability statement, that's important because that's what you need in order for people to be able to see what your competencies are and what other work you've done and your NAICS codes and all that sort of stuff. The ones, yeah, it may be hard putting it together the first time, but it's like a
Yeah,
resume. Once you get it together, then it's just a tweaking
yeah.
thing after that, right?
Exactly, exactly. So we
Yeah.
talk.
So you just have to be.
Or,
Go
or
ahead.
we talk about them feeling unsure about whether or not the time and energy that they're investing is worthwhile. And, it really leads into the next point where they're starting to experience decision fatigue because now they're choosing which program they want to join next. Instead of focusing on the program they're in right now and get the most out of it, they're going, oh, okay, let's see what else I need to do to get me to where I want to be. So it's like a waste right there, a waste of the time that they spend to come to the class, sign up for the class, be there, or a waste of the instructor's time, uh, pr- building materials for them, giving them material, instructing them, and they're not really paying attention. So it is just so crazy. And then you notice a decline in their level of confidence or clarity about the business goals. And that's why us as business coach, we got to keep asking them about their goals. What systems they have in place. Do you have a milestone plan?
Hmm.
What is it you're expecting to achieve over the next 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 months? Because if they don't have that type of thing, then they'll just be lollygagging through life and just expecting things to happen. I hear a lot of people talk about, oh, I manifest this. I manifest this. It's gonna happen. No, you better put some plans in there.
Not without the
Yeah, you
work.
gotta put some plans in there and get to make some networking connections for this to work. The manifestation doesn't work like that. Just sit down and you know when I used to do 8A certification for the with the SBA, a lot of small businesses,
Uh-huh.
after they get their 8A certification, which takes a long time for them to get, after they get it, they would sit
Hmm.
home and wait for contract providers to call them for opportunities. I'm going, that's not how it works. Once you get your certification, you should already be out there networking with contract providers, talking to folks, letting them know, hey, I'm working on my 8A. I should be getting it in about a week or two. Can you and I have a sit down to see what your contracting plans are and how perhaps I can work with you, team up with you to help you to achieve your goal and also help me with my growth. Those are things they should be talking about, but they really don't. They just sit home. You go to school, you graduate, you get your degrees. Oh, okay, I'll sit down. An employer will call me someday.
He gonna call me, and I got, I put my sign up, and now I'm just waiting for all the customers to come in. Well, did you tell them you were open? Did I have to do that? Yeah, you had to kind of put out some notifications that you here sitting on the corner waiting for for customers. One of the first things I learned, even before I launched my business full
Hmm.
time, I was just telling somebody this earlier. I actually was introduced to George
Yeah,
Frazier, who I call my networking
yeah,
guru. We've been on this show
yes, yeah,
before. Um, and so he told me before you even open up your doors, you got to network. You got to build up a client. You got to build up your networking
yes,
contacts. So when that time comes, now you can send out information to them. And so I think today people have become insensitized, desensitized because of
yeah,
social media. So here's the downfall with social media. They're on a platform that does not belong to you. So that means you have no access to them unless you come online, and then you just try, and then everybody's feeling the same way. So they're over inundated with people reaching out to them and asking them to buy this, to
yeah,
buy this, to buy, but you have no relationship
right,
with them. So old school before social media, we did newsletters and we did things of nature, right? Because we collected the email addresses. Now we could actually communicate with the
right,
people and build a relationship. Now you take it a step further when you're actually in the room with them and you're exchanging business cards, you're exchanging communicate conversation with them. Now they're getting to see you and get to know you and then find out what you do. So there are a lot of people out there on social media. I get this all the time. Oh my God, Crystal, I had no idea this is all that you did. I thought you just did this piece because yeah, you met me in this presentation. I was talking finance, but you didn't meet me over here where I work with kids on teaching them how to be entrepreneurs.
mm-mm.
And so and then you learn that, and you're like, wow. And then you got podcasts too. Wow. But that's how. So networking. I don't care what type of business you're in. If you don't have a network and people don't know who you are, and especially in that space where Gilbert is, people got to know
Yeah,
who you are because that's how you get business over
exactly.
there. They not
Nope,
coming to
they're
you.
not coming to you.
They gotta. They ain't.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to the person that is always at their network. That's where they're going. That you, they are like, I don't know you.
If you trying to date If
I
you
don't know
try to
you.
date the contract provider, you don't expect the contract provider to come looking for you. You better go out there looking for that contract provider and say, okay, all right, you know what? I see you have some fine programs going on there within your organization. I'd love to be on board with you. Let's set up a date so we can do a sit down and talk about this union, the potential union. You know, that's how you got to do it. You
Right,
can't expect
exactly.
them to
Because
come to you because they won't.
they not coming knocking on your door asking you to come. I want you to do this
Yeah,
contract with me. I want to pay you money, so I need you to come to me.
exactly.
That ain't gonna happen, guys. No, we just being real with you. We're just being real. This is the place where people we talk real
Yeah,
stuff. So, but now so here's the deal. We're about to close out this show, but we just want you to know if you are feeling any of those symptoms that on that checklist that we just provided for you, then it's time to take a step away and it's time to start to implement some of that information. Now you can reach out to coaches, Gilbert and I, if you need a plan and some accountability so that you get that done. That's where the coaches come into play, is to provide you with accountability, help you
yeah,
plan out your growth plan, and then check in on you and make sure that you are establishing. And we want to see the results. Did you carry out whatever we talked about at our last meeting? And that's how. Then after you accomplish all the stuff that you've learned and you put it in place in your business, now you need to work the business. And then when you come to that next hurdle or that next place of growth, now it's time for you to then go maybe out to that next level, cohort or business program that's going to literally do what you needed to do for you. So we have. I'm going to put in um, our YouTube channel a checklist so that you can see what programs are right for you. Also, this will be we'll be launching our newsletter, and so you can actually pull that from the newsletter as well. And in the newsletter, it's going to have some coaching tips from Gilbert and I, and it's going to have some other resources, books, and things that you would want to add to it. I do a lot of reading, and I subscribe to a lot of magazine subscriptions, Entrepreneur Magazine, Forbes, because these are the places where conversations of the nature that I need in order to make my presentations engaging and motivational for you. So I'm always learning. I'm sure Gilbert is always learning in his space. Most coaches that are really that love what they do, that's what they do. We do cohorts
yeah.
too, but we stop, we apply it, then we see how it works. It may work, may not work, and if that one don't work, then we find some other things. But we're always out there testing and growing, and we're in a very unique place right now. Business is not done like it used to
Right.
be. Business is
Yeah,
different
that's
now.
true.
Business requires some diff- different strategies now. It's not as easy as it used to be.
And look in the
So with
chat,
that,
folks. Look in the chat.
uh,
You'll see Coach Crystal's contact information in there. You'll also see my contact information, Coach Gilbert, and my phone number and my email. So you can reach out to any of us if for some reason you suspect that you're having a cohort burnout or organizational burnout. Reach out to us. We can help you. We're not going to act like a therapist with you, but we're going to sit with you, listen, try to give you some recommendations and give you some exercises that may work for you because you may need to, okay, take a look at the business life cycle, the small business life cycle. See where you are. Where do you fall into that? Are you at the startup phase? Are you at the growth stage, but you're acting like a startup? Are you at the maturity stage, but you're still acting like a startup? All of those things are things that we'll take a look at, give you some pointers as to how to overcome that and start moving forward. Remember, guys, we're building you guys so you can go out there and prepare yourself, participate in the Olympics. And when I say participate in the Olympics, I'm not saying you're going to be out there on the track in the field doing stuff. I'm saying your business is going to be out there selling products and services to these folks who come here. So that's what that's all about. So be ready.
All righty. So with that, we're going to call it a day. Throughout the month of June and July, we should be having guests. I have folks that are. I've been sending information out there. So we will put our class on sessions in session on hold and just bring some amazing people that Gilbert and I have met through the last couple of cohorts that we participated in. Become guests here on our show so that you get to meet some new people, build that network, expand that network, and that way you can make sure that your business is going to grow. So with that,
Definitely.
we want to tell you guys, have a fantastic weekend. Again, real quick, how do you get to us outside of here? We want you to go over to our QR code and go to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like what we were talking about today, and become a part of our family, the Business Zone's family, and you will get notification every week when we go live. And we are streaming live on a couple of Facebook pages, YouTube, and LinkedIn at the moment. So you can catch us over there, and then we'll have some shorts that'll populate, and then if you're on our mailing list, you will actually start getting our newsletter very soon. And prior to that, if you want to be on our mailing list, go over to one of those, to our YouTube channel and put your request to be added to our email list. All righty. So you guys have a great one. And Gilbert and I are going to sign off. And we will see you guys next Friday, same time, 3:00. On
Same,
any Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube.
same time, same channel.
Yes. All right, Gilbert, take us out.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.